Hey guys, my name is Joke, and these are my favorite green decks going into the summer 2022 for the Dragon Ball Super card game. Shown on the screen are the 4 green leaders that have performed the best competitively over the past year. The leader I'm particularly interested in from this list is the Cell leader, and I'm also interested in a few leaders that are not on this list, so I'll be going into those. Taking a look at a Cell deck build that I really like to run, I like to run it with blue cards and green cards because you can run these blue Android 18 cards, and in order to fuse from the 4-cost Cell card into the 8-cost Cell card, you need the Android 18 cards in your drop area, but that will usually not happen until later in the game. So I was thinking, these Android 18 cards will probably not end up into your drop area until later in the game. So they're actually probably better choices, and they're blue, so you can run Senzu Bean. And I was thinking Artificial Impact will go well also because it's a 3-cost card that allows you to destroy one of your opponent's cards with Barrier, and they discard 1 card from their hand. So ability to destroy cards is something your leader has, but not through Barrier, so this allows you to do that. I like to run Perfect Force Cell because it allows you to drop your opponent's hand to 3, so obviously why not. Senzu Bean goes great with the Cell Unending Torrent because with that card, that 8-cost card, once you evolve into it, you can use it for a blocker, or you can attack with it, and if you put a Senzu Bean on it, then since you can remove cards from underneath it to restand it, you can attack multiple times, or you can block multiple times. So Senzu Bean goes great with that. The Unison is essential for the deck because it allows you to draw extra when you use the Union Absorb to evolve your cells, and it also gives your opponent something that they can attack instead of your leader, which could be bad but can also be good. Take some attention away from your leader. And also it allows you to play this Android 18 Let the Battle Begin. So once you have this Unison, you can play this card, and it is a counterplay that makes your opponent bottom deck a 4 or less card that they're playing. So this is a very nice card to just be able to play for 1 because it's a blocker, and you can do that if your leader card is an Android card and if you have a 2-cost Unison or more. So that's what we have, and so we're playing this card for 1 blue because we're playing these 3 blue cards that we can charge. So let's take a look at the deck. Here's the deck. As you can see, we are running as many Unisons as we can because getting to 7 markers and taking 3 cards from your opponent's hand is really good, which is a really good Unison for the deck. We're running a Surprise Attack Frieza because I feel like running one of these cards there's no downside to it. I say that and then I'll draw it at the wrong time, but anyway, you can free play it and it's critical, so it's good. We're running 4 Dormants and 4 Homicidal Clones because we want to play defensively. We're running some Artificial Impacts because we have a bunch of energy. If we want to wipe one of your opponent's battle cards that is Barrier, then this is the way we're going to do that. Then we're running our blue cards. We're running 12 blue cards. We're really not going to be able to play any of these early because we're probably not going to play our Unison until turn 2 or 3. And so basically once we play our Unison, we could charge a blue the next turn, and then on that turn be able to play Let the Battle Begin, or we could charge a blue on turn 2 and then play the Unison on turn 3 and then have an energy for 18 Let the Battle Begin. But essentially that's not available really early, but it's also a really strong play, so it's fine that it's not, because it's 15,000 power blocker, really strong effect card. So we're not playing any of the green Android 18s, but we're maxing out the 17s that we can place underneath our leader because we want to have enough to keep using his effect, but 8 should be plenty. Playing 5 cells, the level 1 cell, 2 that free play when you have a Unison because you're not going to have the Unison immediately, so you don't want to really see that card early. And then 3 when you KO a card with your leader because we can do that all game, and it's a pretty good card to see, but if your opponent's not playing that many battle cards, you don't really want to see this all the time. Playing 5 of the first form, and then 3, and then 2 seems to be a good ratio. 3 for the second level is good because it's a 1 cost 10k, so you don't really want too many of them in your deck, but it is a really good card to play. It's Barrier and it draws 1 and it's 16k, so it's hard to attack into, and it evolves. Really, you just want to evolve it into the Unending Torrent, which is great to have with Senzu Bean, and it's hard to get rid of. We play a Double Strike Android 20, because it gives you Double Strike for the turn, so that actually pairs really well. Also, getting Double Strike twice, potentially, and Senzu Bean, that's just like really, really strong. But yeah, maybe we should play more of those. But we search Androids anyway with Android 17, 1 cost card. So this card we can find pretty easily. And we're drawing a lot with Paragus, Super Combo. We're playing charging multiple colors, so we can't play the Great Saiyaman Super Combo. That'd be nice in this deck, but Paragus is great also. And then we're playing Wretched Regeneration to end the game with either Perfect Force Cell or Cell Xeno. If you play successfully either of these cards, one of which has Deflect, if you land either of these cards and execute their effects, then you should win the game for sure. Especially if you have Cell and Unending Torrent to back it up already on the field, or you have your Unison. Yeah, you should pretty much be winning that way most games. There are some other green leaders that I am looking forward to playing. This deck is played with Planet Namek because the leader, one nice thing about this leader is an old leader, and so you can get 2 energy when you awaken, but this leader gets critical when you have Bond Namekian, so you have to basically play this Planet Namek field card to allow you to play 2 cost Namekians from the top 5 from your deck. So you have to play a ton of Namekians in the deck, but that's not so bad because now they've made these really good Namekians. So you play some blue Namekian, so you can play Senzu Bean. You play Piccolo Fusing Further, either from your hand or from the top of your deck with Planet Namek. And that allows you to go into Piccolo Fused with Kami, which is a boss card that is critical Double Strike. And basically you can just discard the cards underneath it when you're destroyed by a skill instead of being destroyed. Also, when this card is played, you are taking out some rest mode, potentially barrier cards on your opponent's side of the field, so you have some board destruction, but really it's a hand destruction deck because you can play Rubrian Punishing Passion and Frenzied Warrior Piccolo, which is a deflect card that you need Bond for, but you're playing a ton of battle cards on the board, and it just, both of these cards taking 2 cards from your opponent's hand is pretty strong, especially in a relatively aggressive deck. Being able to run Senzu Bean plus all of this, you can really go off, but it is susceptible to bad luck. But, we don't have bad luck, so let's take a look at the deck. So here's the deck. You're starting off with 4 copies of Sacrifice, and maybe not 4 Homicidal Clones, because if you get stalled out, you don't want too many Homicidal Clones. Also, each of these negates takes your life in order to negate the attack. Homicidal Clones, you have to be under 5 life, and then you get to play a blocker, but both of them essentially are replacing themselves with a card in your life. You're never going to play all 8, so there's no point in playing 8, but you might play all 7. So we run 7 of those, and then Senzu Bean we can run because we're playing a few blue cards in the deck, and it's a great card to have. This Nail card and this Saunel, a Universe 6 combination card, both play from your hand when you combo them. Just the Saunel, you have to pay 1 to combo, and the Nail you have to burst 2. The Nail you can put underneath another card, like this Piccolo Fused with Nail, and give it 5k for the turn. This card likes to have cards underneath it. This is a 15,000 power card, so both of them are good to have because your leader wants to have Namekians on the board. We're maxing out Planet Namek so we can see it as soon as possible. Power Barrier Piccolo is a barrier card that comes out from the top of your deck. Otherwise, it's a Namekian that you can cycle with Pyrena that says that you can choose 1 Namekian from your hand and place it underneath this card. Then you draw 1 card, and this gets 10,000 critical for the turn. So this becomes a 20,000 power critical battle card for 1 off the top of your deck, and then you cycle in the Namekian from your hand, and you may not want this Power Barrier Piccolo. If you had this Piccolo Fused with Kami in your hand, this is a good way to get rid of it because you wouldn't be playing it from your hand. Having a barrier card on the field is great because it just satisfies this bond. This blocker, Pyrena, is great as well. He also has this effect that when one of your battle cards is KO'd, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 4 or less and return it to its owner's hand. So not the best, but is a static effect, and really you're just playing because he's blue, so if you pull him in your hand you can charge him, or he's a Namekian, you can cycle him, or if you play him off the top of your deck, then he's a blocker that's 15,000, which is great. This Piccolo Fusing Further card is a huge buff for the deck. You can play it from your hand to draw 1, and you can also play it from the top of your deck with Planet Namek. And then you can pay 2 and Union Absorb a Namekian from either your hand or your field. And you can go into this Piccolo Fused with Kami that is critical Double Strike And the effect I was talking about, if this card has one or more cards under it and would be removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill, you may place all cards under this card in their owner's drop area instead. And then also it can destroy 2 rest mode barrier cards on your opponent's side of the field. This card's really strong, and it will have 2 cards underneath it to start, but you can put these nails from the field underneath him and then refresh that effect, which is nice. He allows you to apply pressure with critical attacks just like your leader does and just like this Pyrena does. But on top of that, you have this Frenzied Warrior Piccolo, which is a previously pretty much useless card, but now it can be played from the Piccolo fusing further. If you have Bond 3, which you might in this deck, then you can place Deflect card and send 2 cards from your opponent's hand to their Warp, which is very strong. All those anti-hand control effects don't work against warping cards from your hand. So pretty strong effect. And Ribrianne, on top of that it can be discarded off of the Planet Namek. You can pay 2 and then pay 2 again and have them discard 4 cards from their hand. We're playing a super combo that can be played off of Planet Namek, and Draws You 1 can be played at 5 life. And then we're playing Furthering Destruction Champa, and Secret Rare, I like to play this guy, Great Ape, because of Wang Po. And yeah, that's pretty much why. You choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and KO it for 1 combo cost. So that's pretty good. There is another green deck that I have been thinking about playing that I think has some unique advantages. The final of the green leaders that are my favorite for this upcoming format is this Goku from Cross Spirits, which starts out with Kinkai's Planet on the field when you start the game and can awaken when your opponent's leader awakens, and it gets 5k for the turn and untaps an energy, so that's a pretty unique ability. Thanks to running Kinkai's Planet in your deck and starting with it on the field, you're technically running a 49 card deck, which can add some consistency to the deck, which is pretty good. Maybe not great in a deck that is drawing a ton, but this deck is not necessarily drawing a ton, just taking a ton of cards out of your opponent's hand, hopefully. And then you also have interesting effect on the back. You probably don't use the first active main. The second one, though, you can boost yourself up by 10k and then minus yourself by 10k the next turn, so that can be a pretty useful defensive tool, because you still draw 1 on your next turn, you're just not exerting offensive pressure, but that can be okay. So this deck, you're running a bunch of God cards. You're running Fuse Zamasu, you're running this North Kai to fuel your Kinkai's Planet. That allows you to run Kira's Mafuba, which is just a cheaper Mafuba, as long as you have a green God card. So you get access to this card. Not a game changer, but pretty good card. What is a game changer is this Piccolo Special Beam Cannon Unleashed card that you can play in this deck because of all of the 15k Gokus that you'll have on the board that you'll be boosting up to 20k with Kinkai's Planet effect that boosts all your Gokus on the field by 5k. So once you have that effect activated and the Goku's at 20,000 power, then you can free play Special Beam Cannon Piccolo to the board and potentially wipe 2 cards from your opponent's hand. That's essentially the hand control for the deck. It's pretty consistent if your opponent has cards on the board that are affected by this. If not, you're still getting a lot of cards in play. You have other options that you can take in the deck as well, like this Tien Shinhan Long-Awaited Rematch, which is a deflect option that wipes your opponent's board. So it's nice to be able to have the flexibility, and you can self-awaken with the Long-Awaited Rematch. And actually, if you play both of those, that gets Triple Strike potentially, so that's nice to have. So let's take a look at the deck. Here's the deck. This is the green Goku Cross Spirits deck. You can play a 49 card deck because this card starts out on the field. And so this card, basically, you're just trying to load up these Kinkai's trainings. It doesn't matter what the Kinkai's training does, because you're basically not going to activate it. You're just going to try to get those cards underneath the Kinkai's Planet. And once you do that, you can always add 1 every turn underneath it. It's basically just a resource. One of the effects that is particularly great for this deck is the one that we talked about that gives your Goku's 5,000 power for the turn, but you can also play for free a Confronting Invasion from your hand, or you can just cycle a card from your deck. So really great inherent ability to cycle your hand, or free play, or do this hand control strategy that we have for the deck. This card allows you to also add a Confronting Invasion to your hand, so extreme consistency getting these Gokus to your hand. All you have to do is find this Piccolo and then you can pull something off. So this guy you can free play, which is nice because this guy you actually need, this other Goku, you need another battle card on the field in order to play him. You can evolve the Kaioken Goku into this other Kaioken Goku, who draws one and destroys a card on the field, and then for one, you can evolve into this Deflect Goku that's really good for ending the game, but only that. He's Deflect, Double Strike, Barrier, Dual Attack. He screws you over when the turn's over, and he destroys 2 barrier cards. You're also playing 4 of these, so you can see it as soon as possible. You're going to play him whenever this long-awaited rematch or Kaioken Goku Confronting Invasion card gets to 20,000, and then you're going to want to destroy one of your opponent's cards. You may play this Tien as well. Whatever play gets you the most value, the route you should take. We end up playing Frieza Charismatic Villain because we're playing some unisons that we might want to cast later in the game, and because we're playing that and we're playing Tien, and we're actually playing quite a few cards that can add up to 5, we are playing Fused Damasu, and this card allows you, after you have 3 energy or more, to play him out for 1 by discarding cards that add up to 5 that have 5,000 or more power. So you can use this Kai, you can use the Kai plus the Goku, you can use the Kai plus the Piccolo. So it's kind of nice if you had the Piccolo out, even if you couldn't destroy one of their cards and make them discard 2, you can play him, use him plus the Kai, and play out the Zamasu and go that way. So you have all these God cards, which is nice. And here's another one, actually, the Secret Rare. So this one is a great card to stall out your opponent because they can't attack with battle cards for the turn when you play it. And it's a 40,000 double strike. Pretty strong card. Run one of these guys for the combo power, basically, and it uses the Kinkai's training as a resource to filter. Feet Kamehameha you can run in the deck. Cells Kamehameha as well you can run. Some Homicidal Clones. The unisons that I'm running in the deck. This unison is great to run in the deck because if you play it later in the game, you can just draw 2 and +1, which is nice. You can also start chipping away at your opponent's hand. Also, it can potentially a blocker. This Metacooler is also another good card to draw you more in the deck. It's just good to have cards to draw you in the deck because you don't have that many ways to draw. All your cards are very strong though. And another strong card to run is this Vegeta Resolute Agent of Destruction. It can wipe your opponent's board through Barrier, which is really nice. You do have some of that already, even without him, but it's just nice to cast him down. He's double strike critical, and he can choose 3 cards from your opponent's hand and discard them, which is very strong as well. So this deck is definitely not going to win early, but depending on what your opponent puts on the line, you can probably counter it pretty well, especially considering you have pretty deep pockets with Green's toolset. Thank you for watching the video.